What can a country's job market tell us about trends in inequality? The pandemic, with its major disruptions across labor markets, may have revealed some answers to this question. My name is Ting Lan. I'm an economist in the Stats Department at IMF. Our team has been working on using big data to measure the effects of the pandemic on income inequality by looking more closely at its impact on different households and occupations. One of the IMF's main goals is to support its member countries in finding effective policies to foster inclusion and reduce high-income inequality. But economic data on income distribution sometimes takes months or years to become available. This means that policies are not always designed with the most up-to-date information. And scaring from the pandemic may end up being deeper if policies are not well calibrated. If you were to ask in 2019 what income inequality looked like, for example, in the United States at that time, we have had to wait until mid-2020 to have enough information to provide a full answer. But the pandemic has made it critical that we get a faster and accurate picture of its impact across society. This way, we can help inform and create responsive policies. That is why we set out to find ways to better understand what is happening to income inequality in real time. We also want to track how it has evolved throughout the pandemic. We start by applying our methodology to the US. For our analysis, we need data that could be updated at a high frequency. We use information on job postings from one of the largest job sites in the world, Indeed.com. It allows us to know which occupations were in demand through 2020 and the number of jobs posted. With this data, we were able to measure the fluctuations in the job market on a week-to-week basis. When we charted the pre-pandemic predictions for the 2020 US job market against the actual job count, we saw that the lockdown had a severe impact on labor demand, and the reopening didn't immediately see those jobs return. While there was an overall rebound for 2020, the numbers never rose back to the pre-pandemic predicted levels. Combining job posting data with the household survey data, we developed an innovative methodology to gauge income inequality in real time. To measure income inequality, we used something called 80-20 ratio. This is where we compared the wage income of the top 20th percentile to that of the bottom 20th percentile. Before the pandemic, households at the top 20th percentile were earning 4.9 times more than those at the bottom 20th percentile. During the period of lockdowns and quarantines, from early March to late April in 2020, that difference shot up to 5.3. This increase translates into an additional $5,000 difference in annual wage income between the 18th and 20th percentiles of households. Behind those numbers are people whose everyday job has been affected by the pandemic. The extent of the pandemic also largely depends on the types of jobs people had. The data confirm that the pandemic and lockdown measures result in a large drop in demand for a few lower paid, lower skilled, and less teleworkable occupations that are more vulnerable to automation. Those include childcare, food services, sales, cleaning, and sanitation. The occupations most affected by the pandemic are those typically held by low-income households. Higher-income households have been far more likely to be able to continue working online and earn income from home. For those households, earnings have roughly stayed the same under lockdown. But when we look at the low-income households, there is a reduced demand for their occupations. As a result, their wage income went down while inequality went up. Demand for those lower-paid occupations rebounded during the reopening phase. It contributes to a partial narrowing of inequality during that period. The pandemic is a global challenge, one that urges us to look at income inequality beyond the aggregate level, to find solutions and provide effective support to the most affected. Our exploration of high-frequency job market at occupational level provides a granular approach for timely policy making. And as long as there is enough real-time data available, this model offers economists and policymakers from any country a real-time picture of inequality in times of crisis and non-crisis alike.